I've been posting on Instagram on and off for the last few weeks here is these designs and rotations and whatever you want to call them. I call them refractions up on my Instagram feed. I've been getting questions about like how I make them, like what's the process, how do I get from point A to point B. So I thought I'd go ahead and hop into Illustrator and show you guys how I make these refractions that I've been posting online. And I have a ton of them already pre-made that I've made over the years, but I just thought I'd go ahead and make in some new ones for you and show you how it's done. So what you do, hop into Illustrator. Doesn't matter what canvas size you want to use, it just whatever you work with, whatever you want to do. So come in here. You can either make your own shapes or you can just draw out shapes. What I like to do sometimes is I like to take type, and you can make a type into shapes. So I'll just do my initials and just pick some crazy typeface. So I'll go with this graffiti writing. Here, let me back that up. So made a type. This right now is a text box. If you scale it, it's not going to scale the type at all. You can see how the type stays the same size. It's just making the size of the typing area larger. So what you do is if you right click and you scroll down here to create outlines or shift control O, it'll make it into a shape. And then now once you go to scale it, it will then scale accordingly. And if you hold shift down, it's going to scale proportionately. So it's not, skewing. If you skew it sideways, you're going to blow it out. So if you hold shift, it's going to go proportional to each other. It's going to scale. Once you outline type, it's going to be stuck together. So you can't click and drag and pull out the letter. So what I do is you right click and you ungroup it. Now you have their individual pieces. They're both different shapes. So then from here you can change the size of them so that they're different. Like you can make one big, make one kind of small. You can move them wherever you'd like them to kind of be. I kind of like to go at angles. It makes cool shapes when I get farther into it. And then you can either do one color or you can do two colors. But what you want to do is highlight both letters, and you want to go to your stroke tool. Or hold on, back up. Highlight both of them. Over here in the window, you got your fill shapes and you got your stroke shapes and your stroke colors. If you click this little arrow, it swaps them. So now they're outlines. And then when you go over here, you can change how the outline of the shape, how to X. So what I do is I like to do the align stroke to the outside. So all the shape or all the width goes out, and then you can just scale it up to whatever you feel like. It's kind of, trial and error, what you think is going to look okay. You don't want to get it too big because then when you try to do your outlines and overlapping, it's not going to want to work that well. I think 0.3 is probably okay, but I think for this, like, it's a pretty dynamic shape. You might want to... We're going to leave it this one where it goes to the center of the line, so it goes both in and out, just to make it even. And then what I do is once you get a stroke, so if you try to scale these shapes now while there's stroke, the stroke doesn't change, or the stroke changes to fit, so it's going to blow out your G, and you can't really read it. So what I do is I scale it to what I want, and then if you highlight them, you go to Object, you go to Expand. What Expand does is now instead of making it a stroke that moves with it, it will fill it in. If you can see, it fills in the stroke. And so now they're shapes again. And when you scale it, the stroke doesn't get blown out, so you can still see it. So from here, you're going to pick your colors. So if you go over here, and you can either double tap this, and you can drag, to whatever you want. Or if you have swatches already picked out, you can pick out your swatches, that kind of thing. I like to drag it around because you just get, you can kind of dial it into where you want it. So I'm going to go for like a mint kind of green. And then maybe like a red. Let's try a red. go a darker red because we got a nice bright green that pops. So go darker, kind of a burnt red. And so now you got your shapes and you got them organized how you want in the composition. What you do is you come over here. This is called the blend tool. You double tap that. It's going to open the blend options window. You can either do how many steps it goes by. You can go the colors, so it'll transition from your green to your red smoothly, or you can specify how many increments, like in inches or centimeters or whatever you want to divide it by. I always like to do steps because you can see the individual shapes moving, and it just is something that I like. I like the look of it better. The orientation, I don't really change much. The align to path works if you're putting your blend onto a shape. Align to page is just kind of to align to your artboard that you're working with. And then just how many steps kind of depends on you. It depends on how far you got these two apart. If they're not that far apart, you probably don't want to do 45 steps, because then the more steps you are, the less you're going to see the definition in the shape. I'm going to start with like a 8, and we'll see what happens there. So now you got this little square icon. It's asking you what you want to blend, basically. So you have to pick one shape. First shape, you see a little asterisk of the first one you're clicking. Go over your next one. Next one, you're going to see the little plus, so it's going to add that blend to this one. And you click it, and now you got this blend going on. So you can see how it starts with the D that's green. It's slowly morphing into the G that is red, and you get this cool kind of transition between it with the colors. But now looking at it, you see the green and the red isn't like working, so you just hit Control Z. That goes back. We're going to change the color of this one. We're probably going to go with like a blue, maybe. I think that would be okay, blue and green. So then we can highlight these again. Blend tool. Click and click. It's kind of okay. Let's back it up. Let's try more steps. Let's do 10. Okay, so now once I got something that I think is, interesting or that I like, I'll duplicate it. And to duplicate, you can either right click, or you can either edit, copy paste, or you can just alt click. And when you alt, you can just drag out a duplicate. And so once I get the duplicate, I highlight it, and you'll go up here to object and expand to again make it its own shape, so it's not going to scale with the strokes and things like that. And so now you have it as its own shape versus having the blend steps mixed in. See how you lose this little line on the inside, the path where it shows you. Now they're just all shapes. And then from here, you just play around with your composition and kind of like what you wanted to try. So like what I do is I try to do rotation. So what you come over here, grab this. This is your rotate tool. Click that. And then it's going to highlight all the points within your design. So like, and then you can pick any point you want to rotate from. What you do is you click Alt, and you'll see the little dots pop up of trying to ask where you want it to click. Click down here in the center, or this is what I'm going to go with. I'm going to start down here. Click this, and now it's going to ask you how much you want to rotate. So you can go by angles, and so with your preview on, you can see like how far it's going to go on each turn. So we're going to turn it down a little bit. You can see it moving, and then hit copy. If you hit OK, it's going to move it once and it's going to end it. If you hit copy, it's going to make a duplicate for the 20 degrees. And then if you want to keep rotating it, instead of doing that each time, you can just hit Control and D, and it's going to keep making that same 20-degree rotation. And you can do as many or as little as you'd like. So you can come all the way around to your circle. You got this cool flower-looking shape with your overlapping patterns and your colored gradients kind of transitioning. Or if you wanted to, you could just make like one shape. So you make this, I don't know if you want to call it a leaf or whatever you want to call it. So you make this shape with these 4 patterns. If you group them, you can then do your same. You can do the same thing again. So you can do like another rotate. You can grab this, and you could rotate from, let's rotate from right here down in the middle of this leaf, and let's do 90. Okay, why is it not rotating? Okay. Redo that. Highlight it. Grab your rotate. I'm going to rotate around this anchor point. I think I missed the point before. Yeah, I did. Okay, so I missed the point before. And so you can see, as you click preview now, it's rotating around that bottom corner that I rotated on, that I clicked on. And it's going to rotate 90 degrees, so I'll do that. And you can bring it around 4 times, then you kind of get this cool like tessellation where the pattern repeats. So, you got that going on. So I'm going to pull this one over here, do something a little bit simpler. I'm just going to do some shapes this time. I'm going to do a square. I'm going to do a circle over here. And then let's do stars are fun. Let's get a star in here. It's a pretty dynamic star. So shrink this down, get it to fit, and then we're going to change out our colors. So we're going to do a pink, make that a stroke. We're going to do black. Gotta get some black with that pink. Make that a stroke, and then let's see white. Let's do some white. Highlight them all. We're gonna make them all the same stroke again, so that the strokes are consistent and it makes sense when you're doing it. That's pretty good. So it's gonna, again, we're gonna object, expand them so they're not their shapes, they're not strokes anymore, so they'll scale. I'm gonna drag this down so you can see the white, because you can't really see the white star up there. Drag it down. Way too big. What did I do wrong? Way too big. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I gotta make the star, because I forgot to make the star. And we're gonna make it white. Okay, and now this one, we're gonna do 3 this time. So the more you add, the more complex your initial design is gonna be. So if you move them kind of however you'd like. Let's see, I kind of want to try this out, see what this looks like. And then you go blend tool again. We're going to do steps. Now you got to think about the steps here. So it's going to do 10 steps from here to here, and then also 10 steps from here to here. So you got to think of how close this is and how close this is, but it could be cool. So we're going to do specified steps again. Let's bump it up to 15, just because it is a farther gap here to here. Start with the black. Let's go to pink and then up to the white. So now, like I said, you'll see 15 steps from here to here. It looks a lot different. You'll see a lot more change in the shapes, and you can definitely make it out better, as the circle is different from the circle to the star with the 15 steps from here to here. But look at this cool explosion from the circle out to the star, and you get this cool look. So, like I said, we're going to do a duplicate, so you can keep the original blend if you ever want to go back and change it. We're going to object, expand this guy again. So now that we'll lose that path definition and we can change it and it doesn't ruin it. And then you just come in here again and we're going to decide where to rotate from. So we're going to come over here, rotate tool. I think going from here would be cool because you'll get it pivoting around that center point and you'll get these stars. You'll get the stars to kind of go around. So we're going to start here. We're going to do 20. Why are you not rotating? Try this again. Rotate tool. Run the anchor point down in the corner. Okay. We're going to do 25 degrees. Going to do copy again. So we'll get duplicates, and then you can just Control D, get that rotation. I'm losing it. There we go. Control D, and rotate around that center point again. And so then you get this cool pinwheel effect where the stars kind of dance around the outside, and you get this black overlap to make a pattern in the middle, and then you just see how the shapes change as they go out. Now I'm realizing that I messed up and I didn't go an extra step to finish up the circle. Ooh, okay, so here you go. Here's one you gotta look for. When you're doing your rotation angles, pick a number that makes sense, because now that I've gone around the circle, it's gonna start overlapping again, and you'll get too many overlaps. But if you don't do enough, then you don't get this closure in the end to fill it in, so it looks kind of off. So I'm gonna go back. I'm just gonna pick like do an even number. We'll do 30. Copy that. Go back around until we get our circle again. Boom. Now you got this closed up. You can see all the spaces around match up. Highlight it. You can shrink it down and blow it up to what you want. And then there you have another finished refraction, guys. Other than that, it's just trial and error, trying out different things, trying out different shapes, different colors, different blends. The other thing that you can try, and I haven't tried it enough times, but we'll go ahead and try it real quick while I got you on here. I'll just do another circle. Let's do yellow and blue. Make those both strokes. Blow that stroke up enough to see it. Okay, we'll try a thick one this time. Object, expand. Get you your shapes. And then okay, so what we're going to do, what you want to do is you draw your shapes. If you want to align them, so we're going to align them this time, because for this next step, you want to put them on the same level. So what you're going to do is you're going to highlight both of them, come over to your align panel. If your align panel is not open, you can go to window, you can go to align here, and wait till it highlights. That means it's going to pull it up there. If you hit align, make sure you're aligning to selection, because if you do artboard, it's going to jump to the page. So if you do a selection, it's only going to highlight or align these two items. And then you do align center. Now their center points all the way across here are equal, so they're on the same plane. And you're going to drag this out. Give it some space so you can have more steps. Okay, now we're going to do our blend again. Got your blend tool. We're going to do something big. We're going to do like 50 steps. It might not make sense right now because it's in a straight line, but we'll just see in a second how it shows up. So you'll see a lot of crap going through here. So you're not really seeing the shapes yet, but just give it a second. And then what we're going to do is we're going to draw just some cool, crazy lines. So we're going to draw this. So now you have this path, this random line or shape or whatever you want to make it. Now you highlight both your path and your line that you made, so your blend path and your regular path. You're going to go to Object, Blend, and then you're going to go to Replace Spline, or Spine. So the spine is this. This is your spine that it's asking you to replace. So if you highlight your straight path and your spine that you made, if you Object, Blend, Replace Spine, it's going to jump around that shape. So you can see how the shapes jump out accordingly to match, but you still get that transition of the color. So instead, we're going to go back. We're going to get rid of this shape. We're just going to do a circle. And then we're going to wrap our circles around the circle. So we're going to Object again, Blend, Replace Spine, and you're going to see it dance around the spine. So then you get this cool half circle design. So now I'm going to do Alt again, click and drag, get me a copy. Then we'll go to Object and Expand to make that its own thing. So you can just see here how they're different again. You can see all your different spines. Now it's all the shapes individually. Bring this over here again, shrink it down a bit so we can fit into our window. And then now we're going to just try another rotation string. Over here, we're going to do Rotate Tool. We're going to do Alt to go around this corner point. And let's do 45. And again, you can preview to see how far it's going to jump. And we're just going to Control D, dance around that circle. And then that's a really cool one. I haven't tried this in a while, so I haven't really gotten to look like one like this. But here is another refraction. Alright guys, I hope you like this video, this little tutorial I came up with. It was to show off my designs I've been posting all week, for the last few weeks now. I call them refractions. They're basically just geometric tessellations and patterns and, you know, whatever you want to call them, but they're cool and people like them. And I was getting lots of questions about what they were and how they're made and how I come about them. So here you guys go.